The heinous crime of this Ukrainian woman is exposing the conservative contradictions in how these folks love to engage in racial pathology. The porter-in-chief said right here, the animal who violently killed the beautiful young lady from Ukraine, who came to America searching for peace and safety, should be given a quick trial and only awarded the death penalty. There can be no other option. President Donald Trump. Ukrainian immigrant is seen with humanity, is seen as being beautiful, is seen as somebody that had the right to come to America and look for peace and look for safety and look for freedom. The other immigrants, though, whether they here legally or illegally, they all brown, bad people that's potentially criminals that should have their ass deported. Racial pathology. I even read this. Let's point out the obvious. Was it no protests? Was it no rallies? Was it no hashtags created for her to get this justice? This man already in jail, already got a mugshot. A huge distinction for how justice that come from people that look like that, even if they don't have an American citizenship, and people like this. Hey, justice is going to be brought to them and he's seen as an animal. As a matter of fact, my entire community now is going to have to take responsibility for what he did because y'all swear up and down it was a hate crime. It's showing how anti-whiteness, anti-white hate is on the rise. That's what we're talking about. Like how Bill said, it's weird how MAGA has no problem with Putin murdering innocent Ukrainians on a daily basis, including children, yet are appalled by the murder of Erna Zarutska. I hope it's not because it was a black man who did it instead of their white mass murdering superhero. Elon Musk talking about it's a hate crime. When you listen closely, you see right here, they say that the assailant says, I got that white girl. That'd make this an anti-white hate crime. In closing, it would be easy just to condemn that individual act and say that was heinous and that was bad, but instead we have this miraculous narrative that's being built to create a climate about white versus black, where you see black people uniquely as being the aggressor. Also see a clear contradiction for how immigrants from Ukraine are treated and talked about versus the other ones, especially when you seen Donald Trump cuddling up to Putin, the same individual that's on a daily basis erasing innocent Ukrainians, including women and children. If we want to manufacture a narrative of black people being hyper criminal and being irrational that could obviously potentially anytime wage violence against a random white person, we're going to use this. Never mind that the only person that helped this woman was a black person. Never mind that the black man that helped this woman took his shirt off, tried to help the bleed. Never mind that. We're going to just sensationalize the individual that did this and do what we always do. Try to have the entire community be held accountable for what one dumbass did. Education is elevation. Y'all paying attention?
What honestly gets me with the whole situation with the girl from Ukraine, I don't want to say her name wrong out of respect for her, is I just still cannot fathom that everybody around her reacted the way they did after this man had literally hit her in the neck. Like, I really want to say that they did not have time to process what actually happened to her until she passed out. I really want to say, because like, why is nobody really talking about that? Like, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. Like, if I seen some shit like that, is that real life? Like, does the brain take time to process what actually happened? Because remember, when the dude walked up towards the train, everybody thought he was bleeding initially, for the people that didn't look behind him until they actually looked behind him and seen what he actually did.
These are the final moments of Irina Ruska when she was attacked by this monster, this criminal. Look how, like, she noticed this guy, and then that she looks around just because she's so in shock. She finally looks down, then she covers her mouth and her eyes because she knew what happened to her, and she just literally covered. Oh! It makes me so angry. This makes me so angry because of how terrified and lonely she was in her final moments. She definitely 100% didn't deserve it. Like, look, she's covered. Oh, it broke my heart, bro. R.I.P., bro.
No national news mentioned that the man had severe mental health battling experiences, that he had been involuntarily committed by his mother not too long ago, and that his mom said that he had not been right or not been the same since he did a 5-year bid in prison. And what's also not being mentioned is that a black person tried to help save Erna. Elon Musk and his musketeers keep on manipulating the narrative around her death to slander black Americans and to increase policing rationale to say, hey, them criminals over there, get their ass. And if we're being real, they just using the body of that white woman to wage a cultural proxy war to say, hey, white, black, y'all see who did that? Look at them. Which takes me back to the Tangerine Things Truth Post. He said that the beautiful young lady from Ukraine who came to America searching for peace and safety The beautiful human being who fled their country to come to America for freedom and safety. So you do have the ability to acknowledge that a lot of individuals that come to this country, that migrate, that immigrates here, come for freedom and safety, and that you are now waging war against them, but you don't have that same hubris of thinking when it comes to ICE criminality and this beautiful Ukrainian woman. I find that suspicious. I bet y'all not going to talk about what happened to that Ukrainian girl because it doesn't fit your narrative. Yeah, dude, so what are you going to say about Erna? I don't see y'all say anything about that. The left media ain't saying anything about that. Y'all don't even care about this woman. Y'all just using her body as an object, a pinnacle to say, y'all see, I told y'all they were irrational. I told y'all they were violent. I told y'all that they had a hate against anybody, whether they are American or European. Y'all, matter of fact, y'all should be held accountable for it, if anything, because y'all created a climate of xenophobia that allows for individuals to find it irrational to wage violence against people that's not from this country. This is the America that we live in. We got a president that's waging war against immigrant populations while also trying to use a particular immigrant, an individual, to make points and push racial pathology. And let's be real, the fact that these maggots and musketeers is not talking about this man's mental health, but will trivialize and explain away one of those lone wolf going to shoot up a school shows you how they engage in racial pathology. So when you see black people as being abnormal and you have an individual do an act like this, you're able to engage in confirmation bias because, I told you these Negroes were always already seen as being mentally manic, which they've always already been seen as bad decision makers and being violent, being brutes, being And this whole cultural political war they waging right here, they finna already make this about how lenient the jails is and how this criminal should have been kept in jail. Not about rehabilitation, not about how we have a lack of resources for mental health when people get locked up. Not the reason why many people are locked up because they lack infrastructure and resources, because if they was able to get their mental health taken care of, they probably would have made the decision, been on those drugs, sold those drugs, because, hey, man, we all just trying to be happy at the end of the day. I know y'all know that too, because we see how y'all hit the crack epidemic versus the opioids. One scene rehabilitation while the other scene criminalization. Don't try to play me in the comments.
A 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order.